Hey there, everybody. Hope you all are having a great night. What I'll be talking about today is my article, which is on Netflix and Reed Hastings taking the decision to step down from the CEO position. First, I'll be briefly talking about my article, and then from there on, go into my ideas and really what the perceptions that I got and how I digested everything, and really start to make really cool connections from what I got from the article. The article briefly mentioned how Reeds is finally stepping down from that position. Followed by that, they really just stuck to the idea of how did Reeds leave Netflix. They talked about the current numbers, their current stock evaluations, the current challenges that Netflix is facing, as well as some really cool moves that Netflix did that propelled them into success. So now actually to really get the ideas that I got from this reading, we go into my mindset that I got from this article, which is if your business is not dying or is not growing, then it's dying. And I know that that does sound pretty grim, but I think in the business aspect, it's a good way to visualize it. In a more personal aspect, I think the best way to analyze it is that um, I want a quick response of a hobby that one of you guys did back in the day as you guys were exploring it and you guys got really good at it, and then all of a sudden you just left it. It could be fishing, it could be knitting, it could be whatever. The idea that I want to portray is that you might have gotten really good at something, there's you growing, but once you stop developing that growing and that need to sustain growth, then that ability started to quote unquote die. You came back to that hobby later a few years and maybe you weren't as good and maybe that knack is just isn't there. Coming again to get out of that analogy is that if we don't see growth in a business, that business will start to see a decline in growth and it will eventually, which I really don't hope happens, dies. But we bring it all back into leadership. And I think that Reed's really had a great way with that mentality that if he didn't see growth in Netflix, then he believed that it was dying. This obviously isn't word by what he thought, but that's how I digested it. For example, with him going digital, or him taking Netflix digital, he realized that by scanning the environment, the idea of sending movies as such to their clients is not a sustainable way to operate for the long run. However, he saw the opportunity that the internet brought with it, and that's through live streaming. So, followed by that, they also did get user base resistance to this digital transition. People still wanted the mailbox. The disc did get shipped to their mailbox and didn't see or couldn't really adjust to that digital transition. But even all through that, Reeds decided to continue. And we bring it back to its own leadership that it really changes the culture, which is a really cool example that we got from the article of how Greg Peters introduced Netflix to the Japanese market. Greg realized that there was great potential for Netflix in Japan. And through the same mentality that he thought that growth is great and growth will bring something to Netflix rather than nothing, they decided to introduce it to Japan, which was one of the greatest moves for under Greg's leadership. Followed by that, we bring it into why is this important to leaders? Why is it's important since if you get that mentality that if your business is not growing, it's dying, you can really you will be on a constant basis of success and trying to be better and better and better. That's great. But on top of that, you will also create a culture that realizes that if your business is not growing, it will die. They will also want to achieve, the flourishment of your business, which is the leaders can change the culture, and they set the culture for everybody. I think that Bobby really hit it right on the spot when he showed us the clip of the movie, how the way in which a team acts is often the way in which a leader acts. We may be blindsided by it, and that's bad, but sometimes we bring really good attributes to the table, and if those attributes can be captured by everybody who works with you, you know, better, better for the company. So to finalize, I think that we really do have to change your mindset and start to see growth as a not a solid state, but as a very volatile state, to say it like that. So with that, I thank you guys.